everyone, and welcome back to English with Podcasts, your favorite place for slow, clear, and genuinely real English practice. I am Emma.
And I am Leo. And today I am in a very specific kind of mood. The kind of mood where I want to talk about the small things in life.
The small things? What do you mean?
I mean the words we use every single day without even thinking about them. The words that are so close to us we almost forget they are there.
Oh, I love this, because so many English learners spend all their time looking for big, impressive words, when the small, everyday words are the ones that actually build real fluency.
Exactly. You do not need to know the word extraordinary every day, but you definitely need to know the word alarm clock.
And speaking of alarm clocks, let us start at the very beginning of the day. Leo, what is the first sound you hear every single morning?
My alarm. And I want to say something honest about my alarm. I have a genuinely complicated emotional relationship with it.
Tell me everything.
I set my alarm for 6:30. Then when it rings, I immediately press the snooze button and tell myself just 5 more minutes.
And is it ever just 5 minutes?
Never. It is always 25 minutes, and then I am running around the house in a panic.
Snooze button is such a perfect everyday word, and it's one that so many people around the world use every single morning without thinking about it at all.
And the nightstand, that little table next to your bed where you put your phone and your glass of water and whatever book you are pretending to read.
I love that. My nightstand has my phone, my charger, a book I've been on page 47 of for 3 months, and a half-finished glass of water from last Tuesday.
That is the most relatable thing anyone has ever said on a podcast. My nightstand looks exactly the same.
So the alarm rings, you press snooze several times, eventually you actually get up. And then what is the very first physical thing you do?
I put on my slippers immediately. My floor is cold and my feet are very sensitive to cold floors in the morning.
Slippers. Such a cozy and important word. Those soft shoes you only wear inside the house. My slippers are old and a little worn out, but I love them completely.
You should never throw away a good pair of slippers. That is a life rule I strongly believe in.
After the slippers, I go straight to the bathroom. And the bathroom is honestly one of the richest rooms for everyday English vocabulary.
It really is. Toothbrush, toothpaste, sink, mirror, towel, soap, shampoo, shower.
Every single one of those is a word you use or think about every single morning. They are so familiar that we forget they are even vocabulary.
I always look in the mirror first thing in the bathroom. And I have to be honest, the person looking back at me in the morning is not always very impressive.
Leo, same. Morning face is a completely different face from afternoon face.
My hair in the morning looks like something happened to it during the night, something dramatic and unexplained.
Mine too. But the mirror does not lie. And that is actually a phrase you can use in English. The mirror does not lie. It means you are seeing the honest truth.
I brush my teeth, wash my face, and then I feel human again. The toothbrush and toothpaste are probably the 2 objects I use more than almost anything else in my life.
If you think about how many times you have used your toothbrush in your lifetime, the number is truly enormous, and yet we almost never think about the word itself.
That is the beauty of everyday vocabulary. It is everywhere around us all the time.
Now, after the bathroom, where do you go?
Straight to the kitchen without any hesitation because I need coffee. I am not a functional person before my first cup of coffee.
Coffee is one of the most internationally understood words in the English language. Almost every person on earth knows that word.
And the coffee maker is the most important machine in my kitchen. When my coffee maker broke last year, I felt genuinely devastated, like losing an old friend.
I drink tea, actually. I love the kettle. The sound of water heating up in the kettle and then the click when it's ready is one of my favorite small sounds of the morning.
Kettle is a great word. And it's interesting because in some countries, people use a kettle for almost everything. Not just tea or coffee, but for boiling water for cooking too.
Yes, I use my kettle for instant noodles, for soup, for hot chocolate. It's such a useful and underappreciated kitchen object.
The kitchen is full of these objects. Let us just walk through them because every single one is important everyday vocabulary.
The fridge, where you keep your food cold, and also where you keep things you have forgotten about for several weeks.
There is always something mysterious in the back of the fridge. Something you bought with good intentions that did not work out.
The oven is where you cook big things. The hob or stovetop is where you cook with pots and pans every day.
And speaking of pots and pans, pot for boiling things like pasta or soup, pan for frying things like eggs or vegetables or onions.
And the tools you eat with: fork, knife, spoon. Or for some dishes, just a spoon. Or in many parts of the world, chopsticks. All perfectly valid everyday eating words.
You wash everything in the sink after eating. And if you are lucky, you have a dishwasher. If you are me, you do everything by hand and pretend it is meditative.
Is it meditative?
Sometimes. Other times, it is just wet and annoying.
After breakfast, what happens? You need to leave the house and go to work or school, and this part of the day comes with its own vocabulary.
The bag. You have to pack your bag. Or maybe grab your bag if it is already packed from the night before, which I never do, but I have heard that organized people do this.
The keys are the most stressful part of leaving the house for me. I can never find my keys. I check every surface in my house before I find them somewhere completely unexpected.
Keys and wallet. Those are the two things every person checks before walking out the door. Do I have my keys? Do I have my wallet? Even though my phone is always already in my hand.
In some countries, you add bus pass or metro card to that list, the card you use to travel on public transport.
Public transport brings us to another whole world of everyday words. The bus stop, the platform, the ticket machine, the departure board.
Or if you drive, the car itself, the steering wheel, the seatbelt, the dashboard, the windscreen or windshield.
Windscreen in British English and windshield in American English, by the way. Same object, two different names. English is wonderfully complicated sometimes.
And the trunk of the car in American English is the boot in British English, just to keep things interesting.
I remember learning those differences and feeling like the language had made a personal decision to confuse me specifically.
Now you arrive at work or school, and there is a whole new vocabulary world waiting for you there.
The desk, where you sit and do your work. My desk at work is always covered in papers and coffee cups, even though I try to keep it tidy.
The computer is the central object of most modern workplaces. Screen, keyboard, mouse. We spend so many hours every day touching these objects.
Mouse is still a funny word to me. A mouse is a small animal, and also somehow a piece of technology you move around on your desk to control your computer.
Language evolves and borrows names from unexpected places. The computer mouse got its name because the early version had a cord that looked like a tail.
That is a wonderful piece of information. I finally understand why it is called a mouse after all these years.
And the inbox, your email inbox, where messages collect every day, sometimes arriving faster than you can read them.
Inbox is such a stressful word for some people. You open your laptop, you see 47 new emails, and you feel tired before you have done a single thing.
And the deadline, probably one of the most emotionally powerful words in any workplace. Deadline. You have to finish this by a specific time or date.
Deadline is a word that makes my stomach feel slightly anxious even when I say it casually in conversation.
That is a very natural response. The word itself carries a feeling of urgency and pressure that is impossible to ignore.
But when the deadline is met and the work is done, the feeling of closing your laptop is one of the best small feelings of the working day.
Closing the laptop, logging out, packing up your bag. These are the beautiful end-of-workday rituals.
And then after work, many people have another essential everyday destination, the supermarket.
Oh yes, the supermarket vocabulary is enormous and completely essential for daily life. Aisle, shelf, trolley or shopping cart, basket, checkout, cashier.
I always grab a basket when I go in, thinking I will only buy a few things. And then somehow I end up at the checkout with a full trolley.
Because the supermarket is designed to make you want more than you planned. The smells, the displays, the special offers right at eye level.
I always have a list, a shopping list on my phone, but then I see something that is not on the list and I think, well, I might need this eventually.
The receipt at the end is another everyday word. The piece of paper the cashier gives you showing everything you bought and what it cost.
I keep all my receipts in my wallet until my wallet becomes too fat to close, and then I throw them all away without looking at any of them.
That is a very honest and very human system.
It works for me. Now, getting home after a long day, that first moment of walking through your front door,
Putting your bag down, taking off your shoes. That is one of the most satisfying physical feelings of any ordinary day.
in many cultures, you take your shoes off at the door and put on your slippers or house shoes immediately. It signals the transition from outside world to home world.
And then comes dinner preparation. The kitchen again. The pots and pans come out. The fridge gets opened and examined carefully.
What do we have? What can I make? Is there anything interesting in here, or is it pasta again?
Pasta is one of the greatest everyday foods, and a word that is understood globally. You boil water in a pot, add the pasta, cook it, drain it in the colander.
Colander, the pot with all the little holes in it that you use to drain pasta. Such a specific and useful word that many learners do not know.
And a timer is essential for cooking. You set the timer so you do not forget what is in the oven, which I have done several times with embarrassing results.
What happened?
I put something in the oven, got distracted by a phone call, and came back 40 minutes later to discover that dinner had become something else entirely.
Something charcoal flavored.
Something that went directly into the bin.
After dinner comes the cleanup. The dishes go in the dishwasher if you have one, or you wash them by hand in the sink with a sponge and dish soap.
Sponge and dish soap. Two very simple words that describe two objects that are used in kitchens around the world millions of times every single day.
And then the evening. The beautiful, quiet, well-deserved evening. The sofa is calling your name.
The sofa, also called the couch in American English. Both are correct. Both refer to that wonderfully comfortable piece of furniture where you collapse after a long day.
I sink into my sofa every evening and I feel the stress of the day leave my body slowly. The sofa is genuinely therapeutic.
And then the remote control, the small object that controls the television, possibly the most searched for object in any household at any given moment.
Where is the remote? That might be the most universal question in any language. In every country, people are looking for the remote.
It is always in the most unexpected place. Under the sofa cushion, on the kitchen counter, in the bathroom for some reason.
I watch comedies in the evening. Something funny and light. After a day of work, I want to laugh and not think too hard.
I love documentaries, nature documentaries especially. There is something deeply relaxing about watching animals live their lives while I sit on my sofa.
That sounds wonderfully peaceful. And many people also read in the evenings. A book and a lamp and a comfortable chair or sofa.
The lamp on the nightstand next to the bed is another everyday object with a very simple and useful English name. You turn it on to read. You turn it off to sleep.
And before sleep, there is one ritual that is completely modern and completely universal now. Plugging in your phone.
Where is my charger? My phone is dying. That is a sentence that exists in almost every language now because of the modern world we live in.
The charger is as essential as the toothbrush these days. You cannot forget either of them.
And then finally, you set your alarm for tomorrow morning. You put your phone on the nightstand. You pull up your blanket.
And your pillow. The soft, comfortable pillow that your head has been looking forward to all day.
And you close your eyes. And the cycle is complete. Ready to begin again tomorrow morning when the alarm rings.
And you press snooze.
And you press snooze. Exactly.
Subscribe to English with Podcasts and share this with a friend.
Comment one English word for something near you. We read them all.
Thank you for today. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. See you soon.